What's up, everybody? This is your boy, Notes 215. Welcome to my first podcast of the week. I already told y'all this week is the Pope week. So I said I'm going to bless y'all with a couple stuff. And for my first podcast, I have my first guest. And this man deserves no introduction at all, but I'm going to just introduce him. He's been knee deep in the game for a couple years now, for a very, very long time. And this man has many stories. And this man goes by the name of Dallas Penn. Welcome to my first podcast, my brother.
Notes, thanks for having me. Internets, what's going on? I am chilling right now, y'all.
Yeah,
chilling.
Mi casa, su casa. Now, let me tell you something. All right, so your name is Dallas Penn. So, with Dallas, is just kind of, I'm not an Eagles fan here in Philadelphia. But, just for the sake of respect for Philadelphia a little bit, I'm going to just call you Penn. And your name has so much importance to the city. Okay, so, you have Pennsylvania Hospital, which is the first hospital in the nation, which I am a slave there Monday through Friday, and I get paid there very well. So Pennsylvania Hospital. Okay, so you have Penn. Yeah, you have Penn Dot. Okay. You have Penn Dot. So anytime that you want to get your license, you go through Penn Dot. Okay. You have I think there's two. I'm missing one more, but Penn, just the name Penn, William Penn.
I was not even born in Pennsylvania at all.
But it's just that last name is just so important, man. So
my grandfather though was definitely owned by William Penn or one of William Penn.
Yeah. So Penn. So you are definitely important to the city, man. So definitely thank you, man, and welcome to the podcast. So you have your hands on so much stuff, man. Like you became a part of YouTube before everybody came into the door. Mm-hmm. And what's your opinion from what's going on now and how hard it was back then, because back then it kind of seems like once you did it and everybody looked into it, then you had those hardcore fans, opposed to now anybody who has a laptop, anybody who has a smartphone could just easily open up a YouTube channel or a podcast and just start their own thing. So kind of talk to me about, how it was you starting in the very beginning of, everything and, how it is like now.
All right, let me break it down real quick. I've been a writer or a journalist pretty much my adult life.
Okay.
I went to college for architecture. I studied architecture and left architecture school to become an English major. I'd never finished.
Okay.
In my third year, I dropped out. But I continued to write, and I would write my personal memoirs, and I would document the culture within New York City.
Okay.
And at the time, the pivotal culture going on in New York City in the early 90s, there was a lot of political change and a lot of focus on young black males being public enemy number one.
Okay.
And not just young black males, but young males of color. So black, brown, non-white kids. And the political climate was that we had a mayor, Rudolph Giuliani, who made it a point to focus on young males of color as being the problem.
Okay.
And this was one of the issues that I used to love to write about and just kind of describe that was occurring in the city.
Okay.
And also, I just love to talk about living my life, which would be going to album release parties. I had a bunch of friends. I still have a bunch of friends who make music. So I would, just enjoy just living my life in particular.
Okay.
And so I've been writing about my life for more than 20 years. 10 years ago, I created a weblog. As a matter of fact, my wife, actually, she's the one who built the website. But she knew how much I loved to write. And 10 years ago, she said, listen, you love reading weblogs. You should have your own weblog.
Okay.
And so she built this site, DallasPenn.com. She created the infrastructure behind it, and using like the WordPress framework. She made this website, and she said, "Here's your website. It's real simple for you to use." I mean, she literally set it up for me. It was so simple for me to just post my writing to it, and I just took off. Mm-hmm. I took off with this weblog. A few months after the site launched, I was noticing YouTube videos.
Okay.
And YouTube videos were kind of silly at the time. I mean, it was mostly people filming their cats doing stupid stuff.
Like Jackass.
Basically, like just Jackass type things were getting posted.
Right.
To YouTube. So people were posting clips from movies, but the great thing about YouTube was the music industry at the time wasn't thoroughly poised. The music industry was just getting over Napster. Mm. So they weren't really focused on YouTube, and they weren't really focused on weblogs and peer-to-peer content sharing.
Okay.
So you could actually take a song and make your own fan-made video and post it to YouTube and get 1 million views, get 10,000, get any number of views, and you didn't have to worry about YouTube muting the music, or you didn't have to worry about YouTube pulling down the video.
Right.
Because they weren't under the same scrutiny that they're under now from the recording industry.
Right. That makes sense.
So I was making fan-made videos on YouTube in 2006, in 2006.
Okay.
And so through my weblog and just doing things on YouTube and just my overall character, I just started to gain an audience. I gained an audience for the things that I wrote about. I gained an audience for my perspective, my point of view.
Right.
And my point of view is holistic in the sense that while I care about politics and I care about the children and I care about food, I love my Polo Ralph Lauren clothing. I love my sneakers. I love all of these things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one person can encapsulate, can embody all of these passions. Mm-hmm. All right? You don't have to be mutually exclusive. You don't have to be, if you believe in the rights of children and the rights of people, that doesn't mean you can't waste your money on sneakers.
Right. It just means that you choose to just want to spend your money, but what you have in your mind is always going to be separate from what you want to.
As a human, you're allowed to feel whatever you want to feel.
Right.
And that's always been my message to people, because I feel like the majority of us, we and maybe we don't do it intentionally, but we let ourselves get put into boxes that say, "Oh, I can't." When I'm inside this box, music I listen to. Man, I love hardcore rap, so that means I can't listen to Drake or Kid Cudi because I have to be Brillo pad all the time. I have to be extra sandpaper all the time. When sometimes, man, if I listen to Drake, nobody can be home.
Right.
I have to listen to Drake on headphones. No one can know, because I'm a hardcore rap fan.
Right.
So
you got to stay true to the city. You got to stay true to the. I mean, because in New York, it must be so hard. I mean, because just think about so many hardcore rappers that done came from New York.
Sure.
I mean, you had your Biggie. You had Nas. You had
Sean Price.
Yeah, which we're going to get into that a little bit on. But we have Sean Price. We have then we have the groups like Wu-Tang.
Yes.
We have KRS-One.
Sure.
But then for the more not so street savvy hip hop, we have a Tribe Called Quest.
Sure.
And we have De La Soul. So it's like you kind of, if you look at what hip hop was like in the 90s compared to like what hip hop is now, and it's wild because I was having this conversation. It seems like now it's just trap music. Before in the 90s, you had your choice whether you wanted to listen to hardcore hip hop, whether you wanted to listen to conscious music, but either or, it was still good.
Sure.
Even for down south, like Outkast, like Scarface and all them other dudes, like what the East Coast was doing lyrically was so crazy that they knew that when they came to the table, they still had to be lyrically good. You know, the beat could be different, but
lyrical content
right,
had to be on point and engaging,
right? Exactly,
and kind of like, you know, messing with your mind to the point where, like, wait a minute, what did he just say? How did he just flip that word? I don't feel like hip hop now is any less diverse. I feel like hip hop is as diverse as it has always been, except what we allowed to be mainstream, what was allowed to be mainstream 20 years ago was the diversity. What is not allowed to be mainstream now is the diversity. So only one thread of content is allowed to go mainstream, meaning allowed to get radio play, allowed to get commercial acceptance. All right, so this is the disconnect.
Because I always said, you know, one of my favorite rappers from the Wu-Tang group was Old Dirty Bastard, and I've always said that Old Dirty Bastard was the person that brought radio-friendly hip-hop to the radio. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of...
He made hardcore stuff radio-friendly.
Right, but then, like, he kind of, like, when he did the stuff with, you know, Mariah, and then, you know, like, then when he did that song with him and Cannabis and Maya, and, like, that was kind of weird to listen to in the beginning. You're like, this is not ODB, this is not the Brooklyn Zoo, you know. So it's like now when he, you know, like when you listen to that, you're like, okay, now you understand it. But you know, back then it was just like, this is soft, like this is not, you know, this is not. I can't play this in my MPV, you know. I can't play this in my Nissan Maxima 2-tone, you know, with
the gates on the back window.
Yeah, I can't play that. I can't pass by the projects and play this because it's not what we were accustomed to, you know. But now we have the Drakes and we have, you know,
Future. You can play Drake and Future in the projects now.
Fetty Wap, like
Fetty Wap.
I don't understand what these guys are saying, but
Baby,
they're getting.
Won't you come my way? I got so much to say.
Like I don't understand what they're saying, but they're getting love, you know, but one thing that I could say about you know, hip hop is that it's not, in my opinion, it would never be what it used to be like in the 90s. Only for the simple fact was that you had music that educated you on certain things.
Sure.
And then you had music that just took you to the block.
Sure. And
now you just have but a small handful of rappers that would kind of educate you on certain things, like your Kendrick Lamar, you know, your J. Cole. I was never a J. Cole fan in the beginning because I always said that J. Cole wanted to be like Kanye. You know, when Kanye took that long rest after the 808, it's like people had their timeline to get their shit together before Kanye came back. You know, and I was a big Kanye fan from the very beginning, from, you know, College Dropout. And I remember when 808 came out, people was like, man, your boy, he fell off. I told you. I told you. Then...
Do you like it? You don't like 808s?
I do like 808.
Okay.
I don't like the whole album.
Okay.
But if you like 4 songs out of 10, then you like the album.
Okay.
You know,
I like the whole album. I love... my opinion for Kanye, my fandom for Kanye... really, I can honestly say I was a Kanye fan when he went on that Hurricane Sandy telethon. It was like, yo, George Bush don't fuck with black people.
Listen, that face on
my mind was like, wow.
He like,
you're right, that was classic. That was classic.
You know, so the thing with Kanye is you didn't have anybody to, you know, to do those type of things, but you know, when the 808 came out, you know, he fell off. But then when he did that DJ Khaled, that We Go Hard, I said, do you hear what this man is saying lyrically?
What about what was he? Who was that bounce DJ from DC? I'm the shit. Well, I'm the shit. Yo, I'm the shit. Yo, I'm the Kanye joint. Kanye remix for I'm the shit.
I never heard it.
Okay, man. I lose the name of the DJ he collaborated with right now, but it's so fire. It's the shit.
Right.
It's the shit. I feel like he hasn't stopped pushing buttons and being creative.
Right.
Even through his dark period. I mean, losing his mom, was a dark time for him.
Right.
You know, I mean, any of us can relate to that. I mean, that's a heavy.
If you ever lost somebody like that, like your mother, it's like, you could relate, but then it's like to listen to the stories and then you're in the limelight. It's like, like us, like we're humans, it's like we get to go home and we get to like kind of just like, it has to sink anonymous. In. Right, exactly. But he's in the limelight.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He still needs to go on tours. Yes. He needs to still do shows. Yes. I mean, people pay for these tickets early in the year. Okay, your mother died. I'm sorry,
and he still has to create. I mean, he still has to do this thing that he loves, that he's passionate about. But how do you find that space to satisfy these fans and your record company commitments and your entourage commitments? Right. You know what I mean? So he went through a little dark period.
Right.
I understood that, and I gave him that full space. Right. And I feel like he killed 808s. I love 808s.
But it was like right at that time when J. Cole had came out, and I was like, I don't know why. I just don't like this kid because he sounds too much like Kanye. And then I didn't like him. Then what made me like J. Cole was Born Sinner. When that album came out, I was like, oh, okay, I could relate to a lot of the shit that he's talking about.
Yeah, he really found his voice too.
He like that Born Sinner was definitely it. And then now you have the Kendrick Lamar to start to come out, and you have people like Mac Miller, and you have those type of rappers, but it's not a huge, it's not huge how it was like in the 90s. Like 90s, you had Common Sense, you still had Q-Tip, you still had, I mean, even Black Eyed Peas before they became to what we know them as now. Black Eyed Peas was still like on that Tribe, type of,
sure.
So you just had so much variety to choose from. Now it's just trap. Now it's just the club. Now it's just
the industry. What you're really talking about though is how the industry has changed in this window of time.
Well, yeah. I mean, because
no one is selling records anymore. And I shouldn't say no one is selling records. Taylor Swift sells records. Kanye sells records.
Right.
But there was a time when any crumb could drop an album and get it certified gold.
Yeah.
That was just the record industry had this great window of people consuming anything that was hip hop related. Anything that was hip hop related. Man, listen, it was just flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
And then people became more discerning, one. Two, people also, the young consumer could get it online.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, people that listen to music now, if you're 25 years old right now, the chances are you've never bought a CD ever.
And you don't know the feeling that you're missing. Like I remember like working at Sneaker Villa back in 03 and 04, and there used to be this Jamaican guy right on the corner of 10th and Market, 11th and Market. He used to have a stand. He used to sell, all the magazines, and he had the legit CDs, and he used to sell them for $15. And I remember Payday, man, just when Dipset Immunity came out.
Oh, Dipset Immunity was fire.
Listen, I used to come home with $80 worth of CDs.
Yeah.
It was Dipset Immunity, the Black Album, Nas. I can't tell you how many times I bought Nas I Am. Like,
what, was that one of the albums where you bought and then you played at home? Your friends was over.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The album disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, man, can I borrow the CD real quick? Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring it back, and then 2 months later, I just never got it back. And I can't tell you how.
Why you didn't call your man? Yo, man, with my killer tape, man.
It's. Don't worry, I got you. And it just never got back, so I just rebuy. Even where I remember the Alchemist, the first Alchemist album that came out. and I done bought that album like 3 times because, but it's just the whole opening the package, reading through the credits, who was involved in these albums. You know, now it's like
the artwork. The
artwork was everything. I couldn't wait to open up the booklet because you just didn't know what you was gonna see.
I see you're picking up vinyl now.
Yes, yes.
And people lamented when vinyl first got phased out with the popularity of CDs, how cover art, like these album covers would be so tremendous.
Yeah.
And like when you start digging for vinyl, you'll get some joints where the album cover opens out like a clamshell.
Yeah.
And you'll see some tremendous art that used to take place for music. I mean, this is why it was an industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you had all these people employed in putting this project together, putting this album together, and then later on the CD. Now, this industry is shrunk to the point where, you know, because of the consumer not picking up the album. And I don't blame it on the consumer either, because to tell you the truth, albums seem to cost too much.
Yeah.
One, they rushed and put together. 2, they were too damn expensive.
And then you're spending the money, and then you're like, man, this shit is whack. I'm never buying this ever again. Right. Like, you know, so it's. I remember when
for all the whack stuff we bought, that's twice the amount of good stuff I've stolen.
Yeah. Because remember when what was the illegal after Napster?
Kaza?
No. There was one where you could just download every type of program. Jesus Christ. It had a symbol of like a line. LimeWire. Jesus. Yo, when I was introduced to LimeWire, I said, oh my God, there's no going back to buying CDs. Yeah. I just saw it from the very beginning. I said, yo, LimeWire is going to single-handedly destroy, you know, the feeling of what it's like to be able to buy something,
because pull that plastic off,
right? Because it's just the comfortability of of being home and
the truth is, you get to preview something, and a lot of times you say, oh man, you know what? If it's really good, I'm gonna buy it, so I can get my producer credits, so I can see some cover art, so I can get that physical. But to tell you the truth, I have a CD stand now in my crib, and what do I have in there? I don't know what I have. Potted plants in there. You know, it just the need for that physical space. You don't need. I mean, I got external hard drives now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't fill up my space with these CD pieces, these things anymore, these discs anymore. I need that space.
Yeah,
for potted plants.
You need that space, and now it's like, you know, a lot of people don't, you know, they don't get the fair shot that they deserve in hip hop, especially if you're good. And you know, you mentioned earlier Sean Price, and rest in peace to Sean Price. I remember, you know, the day that everything happened, and just like everybody who I knew in the sneaker community was just like, yo, like this is just crazy, you know. And me personally, I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. And I remember going to Suplex, which is a local sneaker consignment shop, and one of the workers, he's a big Sean Price fan. And I asked him, I said, well, if I never heard this person before, what should I listen to? And he was like, you know, you should listen to this. And I went on my Tidal, and Tidal had everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember just going to Supreme for one of their drops, and just going to New York, being out there and coming back, I was able to listen to everything. And I was like, wow, how could I not ever heard of this guy before? Mm-hmm. You know, but now let me ask you something. You know, like you had a very great relationship with Sean Price. Mm-hmm. You know, is there any story that you have with Sean Price pertaining to the sneaker culture? Maybe a shoe that he probably wanted, or maybe something that y'all did that related to the sneaker culture, or maybe a shoe that he hated, and that every time he's seen somebody walk down the street, like he just like crying, like, you know.
I like foam posits.
Okay.
And I would beg Sean. I'm like, yo, you gotta get with foams. You gotta get with foams. And he's like, I don't know. They look kind of stupid. And I'm like, no, you got to get with them. And so he got himself a pair.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, which phones?
He got himself phone positive ones.
Okay.
The whiteouts.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they hurt his feet so bad that he threw them in the garbage. And his eldest son came home and was like, yo, why you have these shoes in the garbage? He's like, yo, they hurt my feet. I'm throwing them out. Uh-huh. And his eldest son is like a full size, smaller than him. But he was like, yo, let me get him. Mm-hmm. He was like, man, go ahead. Mm-hmm. So his one phone positive experience
was horrible.
So, but he liked the Barkley Vac Tech shoes that came out, like the Barkley retros that they've been throwing around.
Okay,
he likes Barkley shoes. He loved Andre Agassi shoes, AirTech Challenges. So AirTech Challenge 3s, 2s. But at the end of the day, P could just keep it real simple.
Yeah.
And that will be the Black Venom SB Dunk High.
Oh, wow.
Like, you could give him 1,000 pairs of those.
And he would just be good with that.
And he'd be good with that.
That's like equivalent to like white on white Air Forces or Midtowns.
Right.
But for him.
Right. For him, he messed with Air Forces. He messed with Forces, but for him, like his classic shoe, his favorite shoe, that just went with everything because it really goes great with like a nice hard denim jean. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Was the Venom, was the Black Venom Dunk.
That's dope. And like, you could tell that he's very like deep rooted like within the culture because, as I said, like so many people was like taken back. And I said, man, it's a shame that you always know about somebody once they pass.
Yeah.
And it takes you back to that, to that lyric, like with Biggie, like, you're nobody until somebody kills you, Right. And it's like, damn, like now I'm knowing about this person,
Or Jadakiss line, dead rappers get better promotion.
Yeah.
It is. That's just the plight of an underground hardcore rapper.
Yeah.
That's gonna be their fate. And to their following, they preach the gospel. Mm-hmm. People know them hard by and love them. Mm-hmm. But to the general mainstream audience, they're not. They don't get it. He doesn't get any radio play.
Right. And
with his passing, he had a couple of days for people to hear some great songs, some good music.
Yeah.
But that's it. It just doesn't get into that mainstream format because that's just not the content that they're pushing.
Right. Exactly. That's not their focus.
No, that's not their agenda. That's not their agenda. They got a certain agenda. And most people would argue that the artists that they're playing, their labels or whatever machinery that distributes the artist's music has already paid for the placement of this music.
Right.
It goes back and forth because other people tell me that people get played on the radio all the time because they test in certain markets so well that in order for the radio station to generate advertising dollars, they have to play the songs that make the listener stay throughout the entire song.
Right.
So
the songs that people like.
Yeah. Right. So is it the radio only plays stuff because they have an agenda, or is it that the people only like certain stuff?
Right.
Who knows?
And everything has to do with marketing dollars. So
without question.
So it's not always about what's good for the public or just what sounds and feels good. But it's about what generate dollars.
That's right. Right.
And that's why you have now you have these radio stations that's dedicated to these old school rappers because these old school hip hop songs, they make you feel good. They take you back to a place. They take you back to a certain time.
Sure. And they want to market stuff to the older heads that will recognize those, that will have the nostalgia for that music. Man, when I listen to the old school station, I say to myself, yo, I got to be 2 years from dying because they're advertising medicine. They're advertising all kinds of crap that I'm like, man, I'm about to die soon. So for real, if you're listening to like rap music from the 80s and you're familiar with the lyrics, go to the doctor. Get your colon checked, all right? Go get your blood work done. Because I tell you right now, if you know lyrics from the 80s, you're about to die, son. You old, fam.
You straight up old. Now, if you look at the style, like from even like, like now let's talk about the fashion, because now there's a lot of, Instagram. It's a platform where it's very trendy. So the trending topic on Instagram right now is what old school rappers used to dress like, and what these new rappers dress like. So you have a picture of like Rakim, and Rakim got he got the big chain with the Mercedes-Benz symbol, and he got the track jacket, the windbreaker suits, and then they'll have him next to like a Young Thug, with the with the skinny jeans, and but
and an Angora fur on or something crazy.
Right. But now it kind of seems like, and I've always said this, hip hop molded what the fashion is now, especially with the shoe culture, and I remember saying this comment a while back. I said, to me, the dope boys and the drug dealers made the Jordans more popular, than Michael Jordan did himself, because you saw them frequently in that corner all the time, and they're fresh, and it's like you look at their feet and you're like, yo, what is that?
You're saying something so super real. And the bottom line is that sneaker culture would not be anything if not for young males of color.
Yeah.
And their influence.
Yeah.
One, young males of color influence on the entertainment industry. And the entertainers' influence on the rest of the world. Right. So it's interesting to me how rappers get credit for their fashion sense, and I mean not to hate, not to throw salt on anybody, but if anyone's really good at rapping, then the last thing they're going to be good at, except for Kanye maybe, would be good at fashion. Right. Because you're busy making music, so you don't know what's going on in the street. You don't know how kids in the street are putting it down. What shoe they're wearing, how they're lacing it, how they're wearing their jeans over it. You don't know any of that. You need a stylist to come and put you together. Right. So that when you perform on stage, you look relatable. Right, exactly. You look relatable to these kids. Kanye, for me, is one of the first guys who is unique in the sense that he doesn't present himself to be someone that's trying to jump a trend. Right, he's trying to start. Exactly. He's trying to, like Kanye. Next thing I think Kanye's going to do is he's going to bring out a whole set of background singers. It's going to be all homeless people. Just all homeless people, just wearing just straight homeless. And like, yo, you gonna be like, yo, wait a minute. I seen fam at the shelter, and now he rapping with Kanye. His whole clothing line gonna be just on some homeless, like whatever. Yeah, because
the man is like totally like unpredictable. Like you just don't know, But the thing is like with these in the 90s, that's why these companies like Adidas went to Run DMC. Sure. You have you had Troops with LL. Because they were in tune to the streets. Right. And now you have the street cats that's doing this, stick them up, and they doing this stuff for real. They want to dress like their favorite rappers. Sure. So they're going to wear, and it's like, it kind of kills me when people be like, oh man, like, you wasn't a fan of Jordan, and, how you wearing Jordan? I'm like, listen, what connects me to that shoe is the kid that was in front of me in 6th grade, with these fly ass Jordan 11s, and I'm like, why can't I have those? You couldn't have and I can't have those because my mom couldn't afford them. Because my mom couldn't afford them, and that's absolutely. And now you become an older, you become an adult, and that's the connection. Sure, it has nothing to do with Michael Jordan. Sure, that's why. The article that came out, and I'm not even sure why people are so shocking, but the article when it came out on Complex that said that Michael Jordan made more money these past 3 years
They never made it as a player.
As a player, I mean, that shit just shows because now the fashion industry is so crazy that everybody looks at what the rappers wear. So anything that the rapper wears is trendy. You know, Future started with those big long shirts, just like Kanye. Now everybody wear the long t-shirts. You know, everybody used to look at Kanye kind of crazy with the kilt. Now look at everybody wearing the kilts. You know, so everybody has to understand that the athlete is obsolete. You know, you have the athlete trying to be the rapper. And you have the rapper trying to be athletes. You know, so in that sense is, you know, what it truly comes and boils down to is just that urban fashion. It starts in the street. It's urban. You know, I just this morning, I got the chance to see the documentary Sneakerheads with a Z at the end. And
how was that?
That was pretty good. That was very good. And it kind of shows you the new age of sneaker collecting. Definitely way different than what was the last documentary that came out? The Kicks.
Not Kicks on Fire. Not
it was called Kick something. I forget what was the name of that.
Kick Story.
Yes.
Kick Story.
And it's totally different because it relates to everything that's going on now, you know. But one of the things that that was not surprising, but I think it was like very cool, was that you kind of see how all these designers had their ability of designing or their creativity of being able to do something started in the street, whether it be graffiti or whether it be like it started in the street, you know, and then it ended up corporate, you know, and nobody knows, like they didn't think that they were going to end up corporate, but they ended up corporate, you know, and you know, it kind of shows you how everything has to start urban. And if you just don't understand how the urban city works, then you're not going to understand how the fashion is supposed to look. That's why I think that Kanye has such a great, he's so good at putting things together because he has an understanding of what the hood wants from him. You understand what I'm saying? And if you look at how he does it, it's not what the typical thing is. Like he's not like a hype. He's like he's gonna like piggyback off like what Jordan is doing. No, he's gonna say fuck that. I went to school for art. I know how to draw. So I'm gonna make my own shoe. And you know, because the way that fashion is now, you know, it's easier to be likable. The Yeezys in the 90s would have never been likable. You know what I'm saying? Like. It would have never been like a likable shoe. Like you would have saw the Yeezys and you'd be like, what the hell is that? Because if you look at the first Yeezys that came out, they have a lot of similarities to the high top, you know, Nikes that came out back in the 90s. The real high top ones.
Aerosol, they had an aerosol platform. I mean, let's face it, part of the appeal of the Yeezy is Kanye himself. And Kanye's he's just an incredible artist, polarizing in some manners. You know, you either fucks with him or you don't.
Right.
But
you ever hate him because you think he's too arrogant or
but just a dynamic artist. So part of the appeal, the main appeal of the shoe is the connectivity to this artist. And you're right, in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, the focus on signature shoes was through athletes. It wasn't through entertainers. Although Adidas caught that lick with Run DMC, and what other shoe brand really was promoted or really caught a lick from an entertainer? No brand.
And that had a connection to the streets.
Right. When people thought it was fresh.
Right, exactly.
So when you saw LL Cool J wearing Troop sneakers or British Knights or Funk Master Flex promoting Lugs, all of those things seemed like money grabs, and they didn't seem authentic. And the streets didn't accept that.
Right.
So corporate America was trying to use and leverage hip hop artists to sell product, but the streets were like, nah, we're not effing with that.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, now you know.
But you saw with Jay-Z's S.
Carter's, yeah.
You know, with the G Unit shoe, entertainers could start selling products.
Right.
Rap stars could start selling products.
Right. And they necessarily not have a knowledge of what a real cool looking shoe looks like.
Yes.
But they still sell it because of their name, and it still gains popularity.
Well, now let me tell you something.
Because it took me a while to like the S. Carters.
Well, the S. Carter is modeled after
the Gucci.
That's right.
That's right.
So for certain people, it was fresh, but like no, I'm gonna get a Gucci.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so but
I'm gonna get the real thing.
I'm gonna get the real thing. So the popularity of the shoe, the sale of the shoe was leveraged on Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
The G Unit was a fake Rod Laver. When you look at the suede toe cap on the G, when you look at the G Unit shoe and the silhouette profile, it's a fake Rod Laver.
Yeah.
So again, the real heads are gonna be like, I'm gonna get a Rod Laver.
Right. So I'm gonna get the real thing.
I'm gonna get the real thing. I'm gonna get the real thing. But again, 50 Cent's popularity allowed him to leverage sales for that shoe. It wasn't until you had Kanye, who was a sneakerhead himself.
Yeah.
Who was somebody who knew his sneaker game intimately himself, that you had the perfect storm right there.
Yeah, that's and it's crazy because it all ties down to one person. Like even like we repeated Kanye in this podcast maybe like 50 or 20 times, but it's because it all ties down to.
Well, I mean, because Kanye now, Raekwon can have a Diodora.
Yeah.
All right, and we line up for it, and we want the shoe. Mm-hmm, it's a great shoe. It's a well-made. It's a dope sneaker.
Right.
But Raekwon couldn't have had this shoe 10 years ago.
Right.
On the 10th anniversary of Only Built for Cuban Links.
I don't think that he could have.
No, he couldn't have.
Yeah.
He couldn't have.
Yeah. And it's the symbolism. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like now that we know that these rappers, you know, have the ability to, you know, and it's not Kanye because, you know, Big Sean was the first in Adidas to actually like bring the you know, like the hype kind of started coming back to Adidas, and you know, Big Sean, you know, with the Detroit Players, and you know, it was just like
Pharrell built on that. Pharrell built on that with some of those silhouettes,
right? And now we have this empire now, which is like now you have, you know, once upon a time it was just Nike.
But you say empire. See, here's my thing. Adidas is poised to topple Nike's dominance, but they won't do it. They're not smart enough to take this moment, to take this window where they could finally push Jordan off the pinnacle. You see what I just did there?
Well,
pinnacle?
yeah.
But they will not do it. They won't take this opportunity because then ultimately they're not smart enough. And corporate thinks less is more. Right.
But it's still in the mix. You know, it wasn't in the mix a couple years ago.
Sure.
You know, before it was just Nike. You know, everybody was in that rat race and that fight, you know, just for the Nike. Now it's kind of spread. Now you have Adidas on this side, and now you have, you know, Nike on this side, and it's like now like the battle of the you know, it's the battle now.
And you have little brands too.
Yeah,
like you have Asics. Getting a little shine inside there. Thanks to I mean, we talk about rappers being able to sell shoes. Now we've got
designers. Now we
have designers.
Is it Ronnie Fag or is it Ronnie Feig?
Is it Ronnie Fag? No. I think it's Ronnie Fag.
A boy.
No, it's Ronnie Fag. It's Ronnie Fag. But Ronnie Fag.
You know, like you know, now we have the designers, but you know, with these people, you know, we never really thought about quality. Now it's quality.
We should have always thought about quality.
Right.
We should have always thought about that.
But now, you know, it used to be that, but then somehow we got lied, you know, and it's like, you know, a lot of people didn't put two and two together. Wait a minute, this shit is not.
We let hype pull us to the side. We let
right, exactly. And we didn't like take 2 steps back and evaluate the shoe,
right?
You know, and it's like, you know, exactly how you say it. You know, now we have like these boutiques and we have all types of stuff like in the mix, you know. But I think that it's everything is pushed over to the side, and everything is now you have the choice. Now you have the different options.
Yeah.
You know, now it's just not Nike.
Yeah.
But you know,
and that's good, and that's the way it was when I was a 15-year-old. That's the way it was.
Yeah, it's like you just had a variation. Chuck Taylors.
You had everything. I had Spot Built. I had Fila. I had, of course, Nike, Adidas.
And Fila was Puma. So big back then.
Fila was official back then. And Fila is starting to recognize. I saw some images. I haven't held the shoe yet in my hand. I hope to get it soon.
Mm.
But Fila's putting good leather back on their classic tennis shoe. This is important. This is tremendous.
Yeah.
This is what the culture needs.
Right. This is what the youth needs to get hipped onto.
Absolutely.
You know,
but they need to. First of all, the brand has to do it. The brand has to do this, to build this and put it in the store. Because otherwise, if you don't put it in the store, people can't. Even if it's just online,
mm-hmm.
people have to actually physically touch something.
Mm-hmm.
And when they feel that, and
mm-hmm.
when you feel a real leather shoe, you know what you're holding in your hand.
Right. Now, when you know, that documentary is amazing. I definitely advise for a lot of people, to watch it. And one of the things that they've said, time and time, and I've get this through, even from not watching that, but a lot of people say that the internet destroyed, the culture. It's before the internet, you had to travel and you had to actually go to these stores. Tell me, like you have. Like before the internet, what was Dallas Penn doing, to get these shoes? Like what store was you going to? Like what store was you showing face that, people knew exactly who you were, whether it be New York, whether it be New Jersey, or was it just a New York thing? Because I remember like being born and raised in New York. New York had enough stores for you could just stay in there.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I got out of New York simply having friends that went to college in Atlanta, friends that went to college in D.C.,
mm-hmm.
And always just searching for shoes. I traveled even to Newark, New Jersey. That was nothing to hop a train and go to Newark and hit Broad Street in Newark
mm-hmm.
to sneaker shop. But I mean, before the internet, to be honest with you, I feel like my life was less informed. The internet has brought information to me.
Right.
Now I know when sneakers are being released. I never knew about a release date
mm-hmm.
before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I just lived my life. You walk down the block, you walk past a mom and pop shop or a Foot Locker, you look in the window, and you're like, oh, snap, this shoe got released? Oh, okay. I mean, I don't have the money on me right now, but
I can save up.
In a week, I have it, I'll come back and pick it up. And you came back and picked it up maybe in a week, maybe in a month.
Right.
The shoe sat in that location
mm-hmm.
because of the internet and because of hype and because of other little factors too, which, maybe they're making less product, but the shoes don't sit in the store except right now. Okay, there's a bunch of new retro Jordan releases that are sitting on the shelf.
Yes.
Right now. And,
awesome.
and that's what's happening. But
I like that.
But 2 years ago, nothing was sitting. A year ago, nothing was sitting.
Last year, nothing
was sitting.
Yeah.
10 years ago, stuff was sitting.
Yeah.
15 years ago, man, listen, stuff would sit. Stuff would not just sit.
Yeah.
I would buy stuff. As a matter of fact, just as recent as 2010, I was buying retro Jordans on clearance at Modell's for $50. Jordan Retro 6, the Detroit Pistons colorway, which has patina leather, black suede leather, red and blue hits on it. I bought 4 pairs of those. $50 a piece at Modell's.
You don't see that now.
Nothing sits
like
that. That shoe just sat and sat and sat. and people shitted on it on the internet. People shitted on it, so it just sat in stores.
Right.
Nothing sits any longer.
But I kind of feel like now it's starting to, because
it's starting to again.
Right.
But
because it's like you said, like now you start seeing like the laser ones like still on the shelves.
Laser ones, laser fours. That Marvin the Martian 7 is around. What else did I see?
The French Blue 7.
Oh, the French Blue 7 sat at Columbia 4, which was nice. It was nice.
And but how crazy it was that 3 years ago people was begging to get a pair of Columbia 4s.
Yes.
Begging to get a pair of Oreo 4s. And then the day came when it finally came out and nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, no, a few people did.
But
I picked up a pair.
But it's not it's not the momentum that people, wanted, back then. But a lot of people say, that the internet, like kind of like messed up the culture, but I kind of think that, that the internet got people together.
Without question.
You understand what I'm saying?
Without question.
Like you get more information, via the internet, and the more better that technology gets, the more, faster the information, gets. And I just think that in this culture, a lot of people, just don't want to accept what it is. I think a lot of people, like the resellers, oh man, like the resellers fucked up the game, and even in that, like when I was watching, the documentary, you see Jeff Staples, he's reselling a shoe.
Right.
He's telling the guy, he said, hey, you want to buy this shoe for $250.
Right.
And then he's like, that's $200 and I'll put you in the movie. So now Jeff Staples is a reseller. So is reselling the bad thing now?
Hold on a second. Foot Locker is a reseller. Foot Locker didn't make the shoe. They didn't manufacture the shoe. They bought the shoe.
Facts.
They bought the shoe from the manufacturer.
Right.
Okay? So reselling, the internet, the manufacturer, the game, nothing has fucked the game up. Okay?
Right. It's just time.
Nothing has fucked the game up. The game is fine.
Right. It's just
right? Stop crying and find a shoe that you can like, that you're able to buy, and
right, and that you can afford.
Right. What's wrong with people? Is people's heads are fucked up. All right, y'all. Here's what's fucked the game up. Marketers who or hype beasts, people who mess with your emotions over something and have you out here running around trying to buy a sneaker to look like 1,000 million other people with the same sneaker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instead of letting you just be your own person and let you walk into the Foot Locker or the mom and pop store or the sporting goods store and say, you know what? I like a runner. Or, hey, I like a soccer shoe. Or I like a tennis shoe.
Yeah.
Forget what everyone else is wearing. I like a skateboarding shoe. I like a slip-on.
Yeah. It seems like these days, like I remember the sneaker shoe days, like when you could just go to the sneaker shop and you buy the shoes and you say, put my old shoes in the box.
Yeah. I'm going to wear these out the store.
Yeah. And you don't see that. And recently, Sneaker Politics did this big thing, like with the OVOs, that they made them wear the shoes.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, they made them put the shoes on before they left the store.
They made them put the shoes on. And I think that was dope because now it kind of shows you who truly wants the shoe.
Yeah.
And people don't give a fuck about that anyway because if they still sell it as BBNDS, right?
Oh God, they're gonna sell it as PADS, pass as dead stock, worn only once for 30 minutes on a carpeted floor with 2 pairs of socks on.
I mean, people will still buy whatever. It don't matter. But I think that like these shoe stores should still like enforce that because my whole thing is like with these like okay, so resellers, I never had an issue with the resellers because at the end of the day, you put whatever price it is that you want. It does say suggested retail.
Yeah.
It does say suggested retail on the box. So if you're opening up a business and you have these you have these people consignment, you have to understand this. A lot of people, they dog these consignment shops out, but the consignment shop don't put the price on the shoe. the seller puts the price on the shoe.
Right.
The seller goes to a consignment shop like Flight Club and says, I want to sell this shoe for $450.
Yeah.
You know, and then the shoe sits for 3 months, and then they go back, and then I want to drop the price down a little bit to $350. So, you know, the shop is just there just as the storefront to give ability to the people just to come in to buy the shoes.
Yeah, well, to give ability to the
consumer,
sell,
right? Exactly,
and the ability to buy,
right? Exactly.
So the store is really doing a benefit to two people,
right? Exactly. It's going to do better than most shops, because you go to a Foot Locker and let's face it, you go to a Foot Locker and you probably see 3 or 4 shoes that you like out of the 50 that they have on the wall. You know, you go to a consignment shop and you find 20 shoes that you like out of the 50 that's on the
right.
You understand what I'm saying?
50 shoes that you want out of the 50 on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. It could be 50 shoes. Like,
or we'll say I agree with you, 30 or 20 or 30.
Right, because you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic.
20 you have anyway.
Right, exactly. So plus, you have to be realistic. Do I like the Yeezys? Yes. Can I afford $3,000 for a pair of Yeezys?
Right, no.
Maybe if I sell a couple of bricks, here and there. But I like the 9 to 5. So I can't afford it.
Yes.
So it just it boils down to just being able to just embrace what's going on in the culture, and I think that a lot of people were so focusing on a trend dying down that they just forgot about everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And the people that left the boat just can't come back because they just can't understand what's going on now. And the people that's been on the boat, it's like, yo, like this shit is like, the runners is the shit now. And it's like, you get to graduate from what was, popular to what's like less popular. Now, with you went from just the YouTube and, doing the podcast. Now you're at Complex, now you're doing the combat thing. And like, did you ever think that, man, I was going to end up like at Complex, like doing combat? Like, did you think that I will be able to like somehow have some sort of a following or some sort of a career off of just buying shoes, off of just doing YouTube videos and just like informing people on like what's going on? Like, did you think that,
Yes, because again, the lifestyle never changed. So even when I was working with Combat Jack and doing his podcast, which then got picked up by Complex for a nice run of about 20 or so episodes.
Okay.
I never stopped doing what was special and intrinsic to my personality.
Okay.
So I never stopped going to the lineups.
Okay.
They may have stopped the lineups in New York, but I never stopped. Like if there was going to be a lineup, if there's going to be a hype release, then I was still going to that.
Okay.
I'm still copying my Polo Ralph Lauren as I choose, as I can afford.
Which you have a very extensive.
Very
extensive collection of Ralph Lauren.
As if you mess with me on Instagram, y'all already know. So I don't consider anything different or changed about myself.
Right.
I do appreciate the fact that, man, I can meet people and connect to people because of the things that they've seen from my character, my personality on the web.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't change anything. Like tomorrow, I'm here in Philly town. I'm falling through Suplex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fall through Villa. I'm gonna hop around a few shops and see what's
going on. What's going on? Right.
See what's going on the ground. That part of me does not change.
Okay. So it's been a pleasure, man. It's been you've definitely done a lot for the culture, but I'm sure you have a lot of like. I just want to leave with one more story. Have you ever seen somebody get jacked for their shoes? Let
me tell you one of my favorite stories. This is a midnight release for the metallic red foam posits.
Okay.
And I'm at the Foot Locker flagship in New York City, 34th Street, Herald Center.
Okay.
And they start letting people in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the door starts to get rushed. All right, people start crowding around this door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding my camera in one hand as I'm filming like the crush, and I'm right at the door.
Mm-hmm.
I nearly get crushed to death. But I managed to kind of like slip myself into the Foot Locker before they pull the gate down.
Uh-huh.
So I got my red metallic foams.
Mm-hmm.
And they sit in my apartment in Long Island in my refrigerator. Inside the refrigerator, I got several pairs of foams, just some other sneakers, some old tennis sneakers.
Okay.
From '96.
Okay.
You know, so my refrigerator, because I don't cook out there, it acts as a sneaker storage.
Okay.
And but yeah, my foam's staying there. But I nearly got crushed to death to cop a pair of sneakers, man, because people are just so crazy and hyped.
Now, how many fights like broke out that day? Was it like very organized, or was it like a little bit like me?
It was chaotic, but I mean, it's been more chaotic. I mean, the Concord 11 release was absolute chaos,
and I think that was the shoe that reintroduced like the whole pigeon thing.
I wasn't out at Staple for the Pigeon SB Dunk release. All right, but in that one is mythical. People talk about how people couldn't make it to the subway because there was groups of people waiting to rush cats as they made their way towards the subway and rush cats and take their shoes. But I mean, just people trying to rush the door and people scrambling. And there were several spots along 34th Street at the time
mm-hmm.
that had the shoe. Mm-hmm. So people were scrambling from one spot to the other spot to the other spot. And I was out there filming that night. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because once you get your shoe,
you don't care about anything.
Well, then I do care. What I care about now is just now I can really focus on the other people scrambling. So the trick was to get yours early in the madness, and then watch the madness develop.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was my most depressing moment in the game was trying to come up on the Galaxy foam posit. So I ran around New York like crazy,
man,
for that release. Did not ever get that shoe, but I was blessed to get the Tangent foam posit.
Okay.
So that, in a way, kind of like
even it out.
Soothes me a little bit. Not evens it out. But it certainly shuts me up.
Yeah.
It shuts me up for now. But I mean, Galaxy Foam is still a grail of mine. Dornbecker 6.
Yes.
Dornbecker Retro 6 still a grail of mine.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The Galaxy Foam still leaves a small pain in my chest. I remember waking up that morning, early in the morning, and because I go into work at 6:30, and somebody told me that Jimmy Jazz mm-hmm. was going to have the shoe at 6 o'clock in the morning mm-hmm. online. Mm-hmm. So I wake up in the morning. My wife is like, "Why is you woken up so early in the morning?" I'm like, "I gotta get these Galaxy Foams. They glow in the dark. Like you just don't understand. They glow in the dark. This is LA Gears all over again. Like And I go and I only see a size 13, right? And I said, should I purchase a size 13 or should I not? Now, nobody never knows the outcome of a shoe.
Right.
They only know what's going on at that moment.
Right.
So, you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. I could have bought the shoe, and the shoe could have been only worth $100 because mm-hmm. nobody liked it. Mm-hmm. Or I could have not got the shoe like I didn't that day, and now the shoe is worth $2,000 or like $1,400.
Right.
And I'm like, damn. So I remember at that time, Soul Control, which was a consignment shop here in Philly, had opened up, and everybody was like, "Oh, you fucking stupid! You didn't get that size 13. Yeah. You would have been $1,300 rich." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And it just, and to this day, and then what kind of just like like kind of soothed it a little bit. I did a trade for a pair of Solar Red LeBrons. What were those? The six or the sevens? The sevens. That was when they did like the sprites and all that, right?
Yes.
And I did a trade for that plus cash for the Galaxy KDs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I remember getting that. And I was like, okay, well, at least I have a shoe from that lineup.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I'm like,
I'm happy you didn't get the 13 though. I'm happy. I mean, to me, you're a true sneakerhead.
Because I didn't want to get something that I wasn't going to be able to enjoy. Then
you're a true sneakerhead. You didn't get something where you said, okay, boom, I'm a speculator. I'm going to use this sneaker as my 401k, as my retirement fund. I'm going to use this sneaker as trade bait with someone else. You just say, hey, listen, they don't have my shoe.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to pass them this.
Exactly.
This has happened to me on many lineups. Many lineups before they would issue you a ticket that would have your size. You waited on that lineup, and sometimes if you weren't early enough, when you got up, all they had were kid sizes.
Yeah.
And there have been times when I've got up and all they had was an 8 left or a 7.5, and I'd be like, all right, I passed. And the dude would look at me crazy, like, what do you mean? You get the 7.5?
Yeah.
And sell it for whatever. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
I do sell my sneakers, but I'm not a reseller in the sense that I don't buy stuff to speculate on.
Right, exactly. I like to enjoy my shoes and then sell them on.
Or I never put it into my rotation.
Right.
I may not have ever put it into on foot.
Right.
I love the shoe. I bought it at the time because I love the colorway or whatever it was. It just never made it into my rotation. Boom. Let me find someone else who feels the same way I felt about this shoe.
Right, exactly.
And try not to beat nobody over the head either. Fair price, fair value.
Exactly. Because my whole thing is like, you shouldn't, if you have a nice enough collection, don't use your own money to buy shoes. If you have a shoe in the closet that you haven't worn in a couple years and you really can't, pass that shoe on to somebody else who's going to enjoy it. Yeah. Use that money and get what you want. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I'm certainly on our way right now.
I'm
certainly on our way right now.
Yeah. So this was a very successful podcast.
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations.
I definitely thank you, man. And I think that this is what should be the culture is about. I think that social media tends to make too big of a celebrity on certain people. And I think that certain people, this is shoes. But we have a life as well. We have a 9 to 5. We have wives, we have kids, and etc. So I think that one thing that social media does is that it teaches people how to bash others that's not quote unquote in the heat community. Because now if you don't have the Yeezys, you don't have heat.
Yeah. I don't have the Yeezys, man.
Yeah, I don't have no heat. All my shit is whack.
Oh no, no, I don't have the Yeezys. Do you look at me different now? Do you feel different about me?
No.
I appreciate that.
No, not at all. I told everybody, I said, listen.
I actually like the New Balance that you got on right now.
Thank you. I think that J. Crew makes a lot of New Balances. Yeah. But in the shoe community, we have this lingo called heat. And and in heat, if you don't have what's in, then your shit is corny. Your collection sucks.
So ridiculous.
What do you have in your collection that's worth $1,500? I mean,
someone would say to me, I'll be a sneaker con, and someone was telling me, oh man, what kind of heat do you have? Like a 13, 14-year-old kid will tell me, yo, what kind of heat do you have?
What are those?
Yo, you got the French Blue 7s? And I'm like, huh? Like, yo, you got the Gamma 11s? I'm like, what?
What are those?
Heat. Like, heat cannot be anything that was released in the last 3 years unless it was handmade.
Or it's just undeniable, like it's undeniable, like you can't even front. I can't front on this. I can't front on this shoe.
Right.
But I can't front on this shoe.
But more than likely, if you could have bought that shoe at Foot Locker, 9 times out of 10, it's not really heat. Yeah. It's a sneaker that you like a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. But it's not heat.
But it's not heat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I mean, but now we have like the whole heat thing. So I mean, I just want to let everybody know my collection is shitty. I have no heat in my collection. I just have stuff that I truly,
you got a lot of heat.
I just like, I just have stuff, that I truly like. But we definitely need to reunite, sometime in the near future. And I think that this is what it's about, because as I was saying, I think that Instagram, bashes too much on, I guess, regular folks like me and you. And, it kind of, you have these guys that got like 50 pairs of Yeezys and they're glorified. And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to know this person because of why.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Please do not. As a matter of fact, anyone listening to this podcast, I'm not even going to tell you what my Instagram page is now, because I don't want you to follow me. All right? Do not follow me. Follow God. All right? Matter of fact, follow the Pope.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. He's blessing people this weekend.
All right? Get your paper likes up.
You know what I'm saying? Follow God and follow the Pope. You know what I'm saying? Don't follow me. I might disconnect, I might deactivate.
All right, but no. You gotta get this podcast off.
So let them know where they can find it. Yeah.
But no, thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. This is the first episode for the podcast. Please feel free to download my free app. Is KillaKicks. Is available for iPhone and Android. And man, this is something that I'm definitely going to try to do. I try not to promise people things, man, because when you promise people things,
they'll be mad with you.
Yo, man, it's Friday.
You said you was gonna upload on Monday and it's Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate you, Notes.
Exactly. But till next time, everybody, definitely peace out. Have a definitely safe weekend. The Pope is here. I'm gonna be blessed. Hopefully the Pope could bless me with some shoes. Hopefully the Pope could have something that I wanted, maybe a pair of Galaxy phones.
Some Pope one of none.
Oh my God, yeah, that would be amazing.
What do you think the Pope favorite sneaker is?
Oh my God.
White on white?
You know what? What the Pope favorite sneaker might be some K-Swiss.
Might be some K-Swiss white on white. I feel like the Pope might have a pair of white on white Diodora N9000s made in Italy. Straight ostrich skin, white leather, bleached.
With the all glass stain in the inside, with a
stained glass insole.
Oh man!
Ooh, you know what that is? No, you know what that is?
That's the Pope.
Heat.
That's definitely heat. That's definitely heat. So till next time, everybody, peace out. Enjoy your weekend, and everybody be safe, man.